From missing funds to policy failures, we ask the tough questions and demand real answers. Edu Dialogue, this Saturday, 3 p.m. on Voice of the People Television.
Do you want your voice to be heard? Do you know that you matter in the scheme of things? The People's Voice, the show where ordinary citizens take center stage as we discuss the biggest stories that affect you and I. With you in mind, we facilitate lively discussions, debates, and interviews on the topics that matter most to you and I, from social justice to economic empowerment, education to healthcare, governance, and more, tackling tough topics and amplifying your voice. Join the conversation and make your voice count. The People's Voice. Make your voice count.
Africa is on the move, a continent of rising voices, untold stories, and powerful transformations. From the streets of Lagos to the heart of Nairobi, from the mines of Congo to the tech labs of Cape Town, the African story is being written every day. Bold, dynamic, unstoppable. This is Africa News on Voice of the People Television. We don't just bring you the news. We analyze and bring you Africa's heartbeat, the politics that shapes our nations, the economies that drives our future, the cultures that defines who we are, the voice that must be heard. Africa News, Africa's voice, Africa's future. Where Africa speaks, the world listens.
Are you ready for the extraordinary? Something big is happening on your screen. Introducing VOTV. Now streaming on SLTV channel 264. From breaking news to captivating conversations, news analysis, giving you all sides to the story. We bring in-depth discussions on the issues that matter, from politics to sports, entertainment, and lifestyle. VOTV on SLTV channel 264. Join us as we redefine what television means to you. Voice of the People Television, VOTV. Now you have more than a voice.
We encourage you to click on the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are Voice of the People TV. Also follow us on all our social media platforms. We are at VOPTV Live. Visit our website www.vop.ng for fresh and trending news. Also watch us live on SLTV channel 264. VOPTV, Voice of the People Television.
This is Health Check, your weekly guide to better living, smarter choices, and trusted answers. From everyday wellness to urgent health issues, we've got you covered. Health Check, only on Voice of the People Television, where your health has a voice.
Welcome to the locker room, the home of football talk that matters. I am Jerry Arpehon. Join us every weekday, Monday to Friday at 5 p.m. Nigerian time, as we share the hot takes and hot debates in the exciting world of football. And joining me are the usual suspects, Ikechukwu and Mayowa, as we break down all the hot takes and everything that's happening in the football. Don't just watch football, Leave it with us. Catch us on the Locker Room and Voice of the People television at 5 p.m. Nigerian time. And like I always say, if not 20 minutes off, with the sport.
And it's Hakim Ziyech who puts the Atlas.
Expose the truth, the issues. On Voice of the People television. Don't just react, understand. Do you want your voice to be heard? Do you know that you matter in the scheme of things? The People's Voice, the show where ordinary citizens take center stage as we discuss the biggest stories that affect you and I. With you in mind, we facilitate lively discussions, debates, and interviews on the topics that matter most to you and I, from social justice to economic empowerment, education to healthcare, governance, and more, tackling tough topics and amplifying your voice. Join the conversation and make your voice count. The People's Voice. Make your voice count. Awards. The razzmatazz, music, fashion, interviews, and more. Spotlight on Voice of the People television. Let's feed you with all the juicy stories in the global entertainment space, bringing you the glitz and glamour as it is hot. Stay tuned to Spotlight, 1 p.m. Monday to Friday. Spotlight on VOTV. Entertainment like never before.
In a world where power shifts its every headlines, news breaks and events happens, we bring you unbiased and explicit information on politics, economy, and state of the nation. We break down the chaos. Facts, not fluff. Truth, not spin. We discuss not just politics, but a glimpse into the future. Voice of the People television. Now you have more than a voice.
Good morning and welcome to VOP this morning. It's a beautiful Thursday morning and we welcome you to the program. I'm Moses Humphrey. Now let's take you through the conversation for today. Over the next 2 hours, these are the conversations we will dwell on. 3 dead, many injured, emergency services unavailable as deadly violence erupts at APC World Congress in Ondo State. And also, after Wike'S intervention, PDP candidate steps down for APC 3 days to Abuja election. Exploring artificial intelligence as a cover for misdemeanor. How do we differentiate between what's authentic and what's false? Well, we'll look into all of these in the next 2 hours, and we do say that you should come along with us. I'm Moses Humphrey. Welcome once again.
Good morning and thanks for joining us. I am Chukwuma Corona. Those are the 3 major stories, but we also have other interesting stories that are trending that we'll talk about in the course of the show. Come along with us as we dive into all of that.
Good morning and thank you so much for joining us. My name is Jane Ogoye. The Lagos State government has declared that the restriction of unregulated minibuses, popularly called Kurope, along the Lekki-Epe Expressway is a permanent data-driven policy following a protest by the drivers. In an official rejoinder on Tuesday, signed by the Special Advisor on Transportation to the Governor, Shola Giwa, the state condemned the blockade of the Aja axis, describing the drivers' actions as economic sabotage and a threat to public safety. Giwa condemned the protest, which saw several minibus drivers use their vehicles to obstruct the expressway and left thousands of commuters stranded. Let's take a look at the video of the protesting drivers.
From this Korokwe walk, it's not easy. More than 10 people, and every time we eat, the wire will eat. They can from this Korokwe walk. They should not ban us.
How many children do you have? How many children do you have?
I have 2 children.
Madam, what about you?
I have
driver.
I have 2 children.
She has 4 children. You know, if you take the job away from her, she's saying, what will she be doing? You know, they should allow her work. As a woman crying out, Lagos State Sanwo-Olu should come to their rescue and go to negotiation table with them. They should negotiate with them and help them instead of sending them out of the route. What is the bill they are bringing?
For them saying they want to ban Korope or ban Tipo, I don't think that's an appropriate idea for government.
They want to ban Korope because they want their bosses, only the government bosses to
this they say they will give you for 8 million naira. How much is Korope? Okay. Actually, if individual wants to go and buy Korope, you should buy it and even give us if individual will give you Korope for 5 million naira, then what are you telling me? A government, who is a government of the people, is giving Korope for 8 million naira for citizens.
They should allow everybody to work, government bosses, private bosses, all work should be, and they should work with you guys the way it can be comfortable for you.
I don't want to use the name. I don't want to use that word useless. I don't want to use that word useless. But at this point in time, Nigerians are fighting for themselves, so they should let Nigerians to express their rights. Don't come and put someone in bondage, because this I call it modern slavery. We are going through modern slavery and it's bad.
So these are people protesting because they banned their bosses, they banned Korope bosses from moving, and they are not happy. They are calling on governments to do something about it, since that is their only job provided for them. They don't have any other way they can go.
Oh, well, so these videos are just a grim reminder of what we have on ground. It appears as though the APC, well, we've always said that this government appears to be disconnected from the reality on ground of the sufferings of the people. And you know that Lagos State has a long history of the fight between social order and, social order, the mega city plan, and the reality on ground. Because I love what a woman said there, that it's not just she that is a driver. You have the panel beater, you have the wirer, you have the painter, and so it's a long chain. So when you cut that, it's an adjunct. So when you cut off this, you are cutting off the means of livelihood for a lot of people. A lot of these people, a lot of Nigerians are living from hand to mouth. And right now, like we rightly said the other time, there's no middle class. You are either rich or poor in Nigeria. That's the truth. And it's so sad because when you make such laws, you forget that there are supposed to be alternatives. Now, 8 million naira, even for someone who has a decent job, how do you pay that? You understand? So yes, it may ease traffic, which is a valid reason. But how about the yearnings of the people? How about their means of livelihood? How about the sufferings? I don't know, but this government, I mean, we saw it with Makoko. No alternatives. I don't know. I don't know if they don't.
There's a lot in all of this. But yes. I like, there's a perspective that you brought into it that I like. Yeah. You know, being sometimes I'm interested in development economics, you know, development studies and all of that. And you mentioned social order. Yes. And the fact that they are trying to build a mega city. Yeah. That word mega city, it's not just a connotation. Yeah. You know, it also has applications. When you say mega city, to build a city, you know, that people could be proud of in terms of the size. It could be metropolitan, it could be cosmopolitan, you know, and it could be both. It could be a blend of both at the same time. Now, that's it. Creating a social order, in all of this, you discover that at some point, something has to give. Yes. That is just the truth of the matter. Something has to give. But then, the beauty of public policy, you know, is to ensure that in trying to move up the ladder of growth, you know, you are able to create some kind of cushioning, seamless transition, you know, so that the effect will not be very hard on people. We cannot continue to be like that what disorderliness, you know, in that axis that they want to develop. And I like the fact that you talked about, I'm going back to that word, social order. If there has to be social order, it has to be regulated. Yes. Now, when the government says those people are unregulated, I don't understand what they mean by unregulated. You can regulate them. Now, the process of regulation is that they are bringing unique bosses, which they say is 5 million naira. 8 million naira, which is it's very huge. Individuals are given high purchase at 5 million naira, and government that is even supposed to subsidize the whole exercise is coming with 8 million naira, and there are insinuations that the person that owns some of those things, you know, the person behind it, could be somebody that is related, you know, to people at high places and all of that. So it becomes, very discomforting because, like you said, it's more like a disconnect from the reality of what people are passing through. There's a chain of dependence,
There is.
There's a woman that has 4 children. Now her children are dependent on her. She didn't even mention the husband. You also have other professionals, artisans,
Yes.
the rewire, the welder, the mechanic, the AC person, that all of those people depend on what they get. They are daily bread, from the Korope and all of that, and they are large in numbers. But then there is that level of disorderliness around that, that corridor, which they want to beautify and make Lagos look more beautiful. So it is that balance. We have to, public policy ensure that there is a balance, between transition.
Mr. Kora, I was having a conversation with a friend who is a town planner, and I asked him that, is that profession still relevant in Nigeria? Why I said so is that I noticed, all of my adult life, that Nigeria, we build before we plan. Because even Lagos seems, that, I don't know what the master plan of Lagos was, but from the way estates are springing up, buildings are springing up, it is after these things have sprung up, people have already begun living there.
People exactly. I wanted to tell her.
But are the laws even... Okay, people like to break the law.
Do you know how you know if town planner still exists? Go and build on a waterway. And after 5 years...
but they will allow you, build.
No, they will try to stop you.
Okay.
If you resist and insist, they will let you have your way.
You will live there for 5 years. One day you
now
wake
bear
up
the consequences.
and you are homeless.
People
just like to break the law.
Yes.
I think we've said a lot on this issue. It's there should be a balance. Basically, there should be a balance. I know government might mean well in terms of trying to control what vehicles should ply that road, but then you should also look at the welfare of the people. Korope, what we call Korope is, really small buses. No, they're really small. And then it's not even a good means of transportation for humans.
Why do you say
Because
so?
it's not. When you see how people...
It's because they're overcrowded.
It's like maybe 3 in the...
ideally. Maybe 2 in front. Maybe
That's even too much, because you see people sit and then they are bent over because
people
the
that sit
seats
at
are...
the back.
Those are the back. If there's an accident, there's every tendency you will hit your head somewhere.
Fly off.
Or even sprain your spine. You sit and then you're bent over because it's too compact to harbor humans. So I don't know how it came into our system in the first instance.
Survivor.
Well, the thing is that it's a lot. Nigeria is an unusual place, honestly, because the normal buses that we even use is not even convenient. It's not meant to transport humans. Because some of them, anytime I bought a bus, I try as much as possible not to sit by the side.
The day I sat by the side, I almost died.
You know why? Because any little impact,
You hit against the metal and other things.
It's not even hitting you fall out of the vehicle.
And they don't even close
They don't even close the doors. So Nigeria is an unusual place. And you recall when we had motorways and all of that.
Oh, yes.
Now that has been phased out. So it is that gradual process of phasing out, from the ancient to the modern. That is what the government is trying to do.
government is trying to do.
But they should do it with a sense of balance.
Now, Korope, as we call it, should ply inner streets, not highways.
Not highways, okay.
Not highways. I feel sorry
Short distance.
Yes. Inner from the bus stop to your street corner
A road,
or to
just
your
a little
house.
road.
Yes. Not the highways. I understand the plight of these individuals, but I think in enforcing government's desire or will, there should be more appeal to the people. The conversation around it belonging to somebody, I think that's just, playing politics with things.
Yeah.
But then, if you talk about regulating, you see, because the policies that government have churned out in the past did not exactly work out. We see replacing motorway and other mini buses with BRT and the rest of them, and they say, oh, it's for security, for regulation. Excuse me. For regulation and all of that. We've seen BRT buses used to perpetrate crime. We've seen that. Along that same corridor, there was a girl who was raped and then killed.
Yeah.
And what has become of that case?
I think the driver was jailed.
He was jailed.
The driver was jailed. But I
dragged
can't recall
on.
the sentence now.
It dragged on for too long. So the measures, have they been able to curb insecurity? Have they been able to regulate those that ply the road? There was also a time on that same corridor, because I used to ply that road every time before now. They stopped colored buses, and then they only approved I think white buses, all to beautify the area so it doesn't look like it has this highbrow perception and not look like regular places. But how much of that has worked really? People will always go back to what they know, they can do just to survive. So government should find a way, appeal to the people, and then there should be some sort of palliating to make this work.
And that area, has a lot of shanties and is actually home to a lot of the richest people in Lagos, in quotes. There.
So they need to clean up that area.
They need to clean up, but be sensitive to the plight.
That's what we are saying. Yeah. Moses, there's something you said, but I don't think that we should ignore it. Ownership. Ownership, that it belongs to, because if we allow these things, it might belong to, and it's very dangerous. In formal business, that is antitrust. And the penalty is very huge. So if you have people in government, having business in business, it doesn't speak well for accountability.
The individual is not in government, actually.
But he has relations in government.
He has relations in government.
Allegedly.
Yes, the alleged individual is not in government currently.
Well, now let's go into something that is related to all of that. Abdullahi Ayofe, a staunch supporter of the All Progressives Congress, APC, recently shared images of what he claimed were those of Sheyi Tinubu, the son of President Bola Tinubu, sharing food relief materials with Nigerians for the holy month of Ramadan. Well, the post shared at 7:25 p.m. on Tuesday, the day before yesterday, stated that the president's son, through his Nuela Foundation, was distributing Ramadan food relief to those observing the fast amid Nigeria's ongoing economic challenges. Well, now in the images Ayofe shared, Sheyi wears a nose mask as he lifts cartons of food packs that have emergency food box. Together Against Hunger and #COVID-19 not for sale written on them. Reacting to those posts, most Nigerians have been calling the Tinubu government and family out for holding humanitarian packs meant for Nigerians since the COVID pandemic. While several social media users claim that the food items being distributed were originally COVID-19 emergency relief materials intended for vulnerable citizens years ago, questioning why such supplies were resurfacing 5 years later. But checks through Sheyi's verified Instagram account found out the images Ayofe posted were from the Ramadan fast, observed in April 2022, 6 clear years ago, at the peak of the COVID-19 pandemic. There we have it again. And I recall that sometime last year, during the Ramadan, Sheyi went up north and shared food items, packs to people that were observing the fast. And at that point, Nigerians were, why are you doing this? I think at that time, he didn't do it on behalf of Nuela Foundation. He did it on behalf of himself, probably trying to promote his father. It was at that point that he said, well, my father is the best thing that ever happened to the president, and there was this back and forth argument about what he said and all of that. But here we are again. And I'm happy that on social media, people did fact check and they found out that what is actually trending didn't happen on Tuesday, that it happened in April 2020. I understand that Sheyi has a foundation named Nuela Foundation, named for his wife, Nuela, and all of that. And that is a picture, videos of what happened in 2020 that was called up, or videos that were called up. I don't know the reason why Abdullahi Ayofe is doing all of this, whether he was paid to do it to promote what Sheyi is doing, whether he was paid to do it, to antagonize Sheyi's personality. Between both of them, I'm finding it difficult to place actually what it is, but in the coming days, all of those things will become evident. Now, that said, is there anything wrong in someone using his foundation to help people? I mean, as an individual, he's not in government, but he has people in government. But now, he's not doing it on behalf of the government. He's doing it, or he did it at that time on behalf of Noella Foundation. I think we should commend him. He did it last year, and people were like, why do it? And now we are Ramadan fast. But the larger question people are asking is, why share palliatives to Nigerians? It's short term. While you are doing short term, you also plan long term. I think that is the problem with Nigeria. We used to have development plans. We used to have visions, 20 years, 5-year rolling plan and all of that. We killed all of that. Now, we are just adopting what we call the minimalist approach. Let us eat today, let us eat today. Nobody cares what happens tomorrow, which is maximalist. Solve a problem once and for all. We have thrown maximalism away and we are dwelling on minimalism, and it doesn't help the people. That's my concern in all of this.
I agree with you, and the key word for me with what you said was we used to have. Meaning we were once a country, and right now I don't know where we are.
I don't know you as such a best daughter.
But away from that, I think for us to even understand why the backlash has hit so hard is to understand the trauma that Nigerians went through during the COVID pandemic, where a lot, life was so hard then for the ordinary person, people. And then when palliatives were found to have been stocked in certain warehouses, you remember some people breaking roofs to enter. Governors hoarding. And for those things to come out now, what does that tell you? But away from that, I think this is what happens when you have a government that thrives a lot on the optics, a government that loves praises. So what happens is that you have a lot of boot and ass lickers who would do anything to paint that government in real light, in good light. And guess the funny part, in good, yes. But the funny part, these leaders don't even know what is even happening. But because there's so much psychophancy, this is a government that does not like criticism. So when such a government exists, you have a lot of people that will go the extreme, to put this out. And that's why, little wonder why this particular government has how many social media handlers, how many...
I think that at last count, there were 13.
There were 13. So most is what...
The president's communication team. Exactly. But unfortunately, as far as I'm concerned, they're not doing a good job. They're not doing a good job,
No, they're not doing anything.
I don't even see why we're talking about this, really, because an individual put up a video, put up pictures and said, "Oh, this is what it is." It's not Shay himself that put up the pictures. The foundation might be his, and people do throwback anyway. So maybe it was intended to be a throwback picture, But I don't. This should not be up for conversation, really. But then again. The issue of social media regulation should come to the fore here, because we should start talking about how people use social media to misinform people and all of that, and that in itself is a crime and should be dealt with. If the intention was to misinform the public, and it's a serious issue, that individual, Ayofe, I believe that's his name, should be, reprimanded for trying to misinform the public. Well, that's all I'll say in that regard. I think we'll take a break now. When we come back, we'll look at the papers. Well, thank you very much for joining us. Now, let's look at the headlines from the dailies. From The Guardian, these are the headlines here. The big story, 2027, credibility battle shifts to INEC as Tinubu signs amended Electoral Act. And then there's a breakdown of that. We'll get into all of that here in newspaper review. The window headlines here, IPAC, Obi flay police clampdown, tear gas of protesters at National Assembly. Holy month, Tinubu Obi urged spiritual reflection, commitments to shared humanity. Reps falls poor funding of security intelligence. And then Where you go further down, you see some of the headlines. FCT polls. INEC pledges e-transmission of results. Mixed reaction. Protest trail Delta APC World Congresses. Gencos reject NLC's extortion claims. Say sector battling 6 trillion naira unpaid bills. Interesting. Tinubu orders NNPC to remit oil revenue to FAC as rig count stagnates. Telcos reject objection to e-result transmission. Insist on national coverage. All right. And those are the headlines there.
And the Daily Independent leads with Tinubu urges Nigerians to believe in electoral process. Says results are finalized by people, not computers. Charges INEC to avoid glitches in 2027 polls. Signs 2026 electoral amendment bill into law. Akpabio says amendments reflect the yearnings of Nigerians. New law will reduce manipulation during collation. 37 miners dead, 25 hospitalized over gas poisoning on part 2. Tinubu orders oil revenues sent straight to Federation account. Electoral Act amendment, treacherous betrayals of Nigerians, says the PDP. Lagos attacks 66% of TB detection gap with new community lab push. Nigeria needs action, not just policies, can President. Africa must industrialize, decarbonize, build resilient economies. Cardoso, Ondo APC Congress turns bloody. 4 killed, many injured. State party chairman's brother in coma. Party chieftains urge Tinubu to intervene. Governor asks security agencies to bring perpetrators to justice. Ogun government warns against roadside trading after fatal auto crash. That's the Daily Independent.
Now, let's quickly run through the Nigerian Tribune with the window headlines. That's 3 miners dying in tunnel in Plateau. Federal government closes site, dispatches forensic investigators. Now, that's the third one. Another sad story, 2 killed during Ondo APC World Congress. Now, we have conflicting figures. One paper says 4, another says 2, and all of that. But the important thing is that, though sadly, that people were killed during what congresses? We are not even talking about local government or state congresses. Now, to the big story, Tinubu signs Electoral Act 2026, says our laws must grow with experience. New law alters INEC February date for presidential NAS election. Presidential NAS poll to hold in January 2027, Abbas. Our inputs were painstaking, thorough, Akpabio. Amended Electoral Act may undermine transparency, ex-INEC director. Most stories from the Nigerian Tribune. Owo church attack. Witness tells court how cell phones analysis implicated alleged attackers. I'll take that again for clarity. Owo church attack. Witness tells court how cell phones analysis implicated alleged attackers. Tinubu signs executive order for direct remittance of oil, gas revenue to Federation account. And the bottom strip headline, I have my eyes on Ugu 2027, says Lemo, ex-CBN deputy governor. And in the world of health, artificial sweetener puts people at high risk of heart attack, stroke, says study. And that's it from the Nigerian Tribune.
All right, and that's how far we can go on newspaper headlines. Much later in the day, we'll look deeply at these headlines during newspaper review. But in the meantime, let's look at what's been happening around Nigeria. Let's go to Idanre, a local government area in Ondo State, where we heard of 3 have died and many others have been injured. And then this is as violence erupted at the APC World Congress in that part of town. Let's talk about this when we come back. Stay with us.
Africa is on the move, a continent of rising voices, untold stories, and powerful transformations. From the streets of Lagos to the heart of Nairobi, from the mines of Congo to the tech labs of Cape Town, the African story is being written every day. Bold, dynamic, unstoppable. This is African News on Voice of the People Television. We don't just bring you the news. We analyze and bring you Africa's heartbeat, the politics that shapes our nations, the economies that drives our future, the cultures that defines who we are. The voice that must be heard. Africa News, Africa's voice, Africa's future. Where Africa speaks, the world listens.
From the views on the street,
we go to bed empty hunger,
to the blaring horns of a hustling city, the loudest voices of the common man got a medium to be heard.
This particular administration, they were coming unprepared.
It's not a bad thing to renovate the president's lawn.
Through top-notch programming, unbiased reportage of news, sports, business, entertainment, and cultural documentaries, Voice of the People 90.3 FM became a symbol for 21st century media. And now, a new baby is born. Voice of the People Television, VOTV, youthful, full of vigor and penchant for excellence in the continent's media space, exposing the wrongs, applauding the rights, dissecting the news without fear or favor, through factual and accurate stories and contents.
Corruption kills three things that makes a society.
Representing the interests of the people and giving them a voice. Voice of the People TV is here to stay towards building a fair society. VOP TV, Voice of the People Television, truly a voice for the people.
Voice of the People, you can hear me now. My name is Patrick Doyle, and I wish that you continue to echo the voices of the people. Big up VOP TV.
My name is Suibifa Dokubo. Please keep watching VOP TV.
Hi, my name is Kwekumali Ikena Onyekwena, and I am with the Voice of the People TV. Now, if you're looking for the veritable channel for information, politics, robust discussions, you don't need to go far. VOP has you. VOP will always have you. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Patrick Diabwa, aka Ibani Chuka. I'm the Eagle King, and you are watching VOP TV. Stay with us.
2564 is coming up on Burning 9, right?
2564 Atlantic Tower. What happens in the hush behind hangar doors? Who signs the papers that gamble with lives? Which truths were grounded before they even ever had wings? If you've ever buckled a seatbelt at 30,000 feet, if you've ever stared out of that tiny window and wondered who's really in control of the skies, it isn't just flight, it's power, it's politics, it's pressure sealed in steel. We're peeling back the clouds from runway risks to sky-high secrets. We're diving deep where most dare not to look. Aviation Scope, every Sunday at 7 p.m. only on Voice of the People TV. We don't just report, we reveal. We don't just ask, we uncover. Because when it comes to the skies, ignorance is turbulence. Aviation Scope, the sky isn't the limit, it's just the beginning.
Good evening, Africa. My name is Bamakore, actor, model, producer, and I'm giving a big shout out to VOP TV, man. Keep watching. Don't change the dial. Thank you and God bless you.
My name is AY, and of course, I represent the voice of the people, and that's why I'm on VOP. AY say so.
Well, violence broke out on Wednesday during the Ward and Local Government Congress of the All Progressive Congress in Ondo State, leaving several people dead and many others injured. The crisis occurred in Idare local government area, involving an attack on Engineer Raphael Adetime, the younger brother of the APC chairman in the state. Adetime, reports from the community indicated that armed men stormed the area and opened fire during the political exercise. The attackers allegedly mistook Raphael Adetime for the APC chairman due to their close resemblance. Confirming the incident, the party chairman said his brother was brutally assaulted and left unconscious. He disclosed that the assailants first shot at him. When the bullets did not kill him, they used machetes and other sharp weapons on him repeatedly. But medical sources confirmed that Raphael Adetimehin remains in critical condition at a hospital in Akure, the state capital. Eyewitnesses said at least 4 other people were reportedly killed in different parts of the town as gunshots rang out and vehicles were set on fire. Several residents fled their homes in fear as chaos spread across Idare. A horrible one, I must say. And then we have those disturbing videos. But to help make sense of this, we have one who is, from that part of Nigeria, actually. He's a reporter and a public affairs commentator. We have Dele Fanimo. Good morning to you.
Good morning, everyone.
Well, I expect you will tell us, why this is happening. And I think there's a case of mistaken identity, a similar incident that led to somebody's death.
Yeah, in Ado-Ekiti.
In Ado-Ekiti, many years back.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that as well. Now, we also have with us Mazi Amobi Ihegoro, who is a public affairs commentator. And we'll go virtual. And we'll be speaking with Asim Adams, Chief Asim Adams, who is also a lawyer and a public affairs commentator. He'll also be joining the conversation. Well, let's start off with Song of the Soil himself. What's going on? Is that how hungry they are? Some people are for power at this time. What's going on?
You see, it's a political interplay that resulted in these killings, though unfortunate. When the incident broke out yesterday, I made some calls because Idonri, that name is Idonri.
Okay, thank you.
Idonri is just about 12, 15 kilometers from Akure, the state capital. And incidentally, the chairman of the party, Adetimehin, is from Idonri. So that's why they needed to do show of force in that community. And the show of force is coming as a result of power play. The incumbent governor of the state, who is supposed to be the party leader in the state, has lost out in the scheme of things. Today, as we speak, the 3 senators representing Ondo State are not on the same page with him. Members of the House of Representatives are not on the same page with the governor. The House of Assembly is divided as we speak. So it was like a struggle for survival. And Adetimehin, the incumbent state chairman, who incidentally is from Idonri, happens to be a loyalist of the former governor, late Akeredolu, who orchestrated his appointment. And Ayedatiwa, the current governor, is not comfortable with Adetimehin. And most of these governors would always want to perpetuate themselves even when they leave office. So what they are trying to do is to ensure that, Ayedatiwa, what he's trying to do is to ensure that delegates arriving from these primaries are from his stronghold, such that when it is time for, because it is the delegates that will nominate and vote the governorship candidate that will represent the party. So they are already up in arms, just like the way NURTW, when they want to seize power, the person that runs away is the loser. You understand? So they needed to show that show of force that, look, if you think you want to use your power of incumbency to railroad these people into getting into office, so that when it is time for delegates to vote, you will now have your say on who becomes your successor. Now, Ayedatiwa is playing a game of going to court to challenge that single tenure after being sworn in according to the dictates of the Constitution is trying to get a shot for second term in quotes, which is also a negation of the constitutional provision that says you can't be sworn in 3 times as governor. So now what is playing out is this power play that I want the party, and people are resisting. No, you cannot have the party. And of course, you know that if he's not enjoying the relationship that he ought to enjoy with his senators, the 3 senators from the state, the members of the House of Reps, and even the House on which he should have stranglehold, is also divided against him, almost on equal basis. So it's just a matter of time. And unfortunately, the man is not performing up to the expectation of the people of the state.
All right.
So those are the factors. Like you said, it was a mistaken identity. Adetimehin and his younger brother, they have a striking resemblance. Just like when they wanted to kill Taye Fashuba in Ado-Ekiti, the local government chairman of Ado-Ekiti, when he had brushes with the government.
Yes.
They mistakenly shot his twin brother, thinking that they have killed the chairman. And that was what played out yesterday in Idonri, where his younger brother was mistaken for the chairman of the party.
And was attacked. Mazi Amobi, now we're seeing a troubling resurgence. Now, not like it died down at some point, but it did dwindle. You know, violence, political violence, where you see thugs carry guns, and sometime around, it died down, it reduced drastically at some point, but we're seeing a spike now. What does this say to political space and the hunger for political power?
Let me be the prophet of doom, as it were. We will see more of this. Particularly,
that's not comforting.
Well, that is the truth. We'll see more of this, particularly when the electoral bill has been signed into law, making it crystal clear that whoever that comes out of APC is as good as being elected. That singular action will intensify this problem of political assassinations, as it were. So let's look at it this way. It's very, very unfortunate. This is just Ondo State. When you extrapolate to the Nigerian ecosystem, you find out that it will be very, very difficult to handle. I wish for this country in the coming years, because what is playing out, the scenario I'm seeing, because I use my political crystal ball to, juggle things, I'm seeing a very, complex political situation in this country, leading to 2027. We have laid the foundation for crisis-ridden political experiments in this country. So what has happened in Ondo State should be expected in most of these states.
Okay, yes, exactly, Mars. It should be expected in most of the states. Let me go back to Dele before we go to our virtual guest. Dele, you've been able to explain, more like, will I say explain away, or explain what happened in Ondo State, and it's because you understand the politics of Ondo State. But I want us to put it within the context of the APC World Congresses, that started yesterday in the lead up to their national convention, where they would elect presidential candidates, governors at some point, senators and members of the House of Reps. Now, 2 people, we have conflicting reports, 2 killed in Ondo. Another media house says, there's a newspaper that says 4 people and several injured. Perhaps they mistook the younger brother as dead, because they said it was, up to now, he's still in coma. All right, now, in Delta State, the activity was disrupted. People chased away. Thugs, disrupted the exercise in one federal constituency in Delta State. In Benue State, there was mayhem. In Adamawa State, it was postponed. APC, what congresses? I mean, this is the grassroots. Like you said, these are the delegates that will, when delegates emerge. Now, does this speak to some form of desperation within the APC, like what Mazi said? Anybody that secures a ticket is as good as elected. And you know that we have a history where a lot of people have left their previous parties, Labour Party, PDP, NMPP, and dumped themselves within the APC. Is there likely going to be an implosion within the APC like some people have projected? And do we expect to see more of this at a higher level? If at the ward level we are seeing all of this, what will happen at the local government level?
You see, riding on what Mazi said, it's as good as winning this election once we secure the ticket of APC, the way it is today. Because in most of these states, other parties have been subsumed under APC. So it's like, once I get the ticket of APC and I go into election, I don't need much campaign. Because the other opposition parties have been so fragmented and they have landmines ahead of them that you can't even project.
So do you see a bigger problem within
there will always be problem. I can assure you there will be problem in APC in the build-up to this electioneering process. Because one, the Aborigines, I use the word Aborigines,
the original owners of the party,
the settlers, and then the migrants. You know, there's a difference between Aborigines, the settlers, and the migrants. Migrants are just the new set of people. The Aborigines are the original owners of that place. Then settlers are people that came, settled, and assimilated over time. So these three groups will naturally jostle for power and dominance. The settlers will say, even if I have lived with you for more than 2 generations, then I should have claims to this place. But the migrants, because they were promised that it's going to be a seamless assimilation as they come into this fold. Now, what is playing out is the Aborigines and the settlers are united in making sure that they keep them at the gates. And they don't want to remain at the gates because they believe that they also have something to offer in the process. You imagine somebody from NMPP in Kano now APC is now telling somebody from NPP that has submerged the party for APC in Kano that, look, you have to wait for your turn. The man will ask you, I've always been a politician. And we came here with this number. So you cannot tell me that I won't have my way in this party. So there's going to be some sort of bedlam. But how the party will manage it is left to be seen. We cannot hazard a guess as how this party will be able to manage this crisis. But definitely, there will be serious jostle. There will be serious jostle for power in the build-up.
All right, then. Thank you very much. Now let's go to our virtual guest, Chief Hasim Adams. Chief, good morning to you. Welcome to the conversation. Good to have you. Good to have you here today. Now, does it seem like the APC is about to implode, like some people projected, seeing everybody coming into the party from different parties? Now there seem to be chaos within the party. Will we need the president to step in? And in how many states will he step in to solve the problem?
Yes, of course. When you see, a political party that is in power in Nigeria, that is what happens. Everybody wants to belong or part of that ruling party, as we call it. That is why you see everybody is drifting or running to APC. Now, when they get in there and they're able to get power, their power sharing and the hunger for further ambition now become a problem, that is when you begin to see these visible cracks that you now see in APC. APC certainly will implode, just like PDP did, but I doubt if that will take place before the election. Because why I'm saying that now is that the president is doing everything within his powers to make sure that he whip people to line, and he also reconcile others who are willing, so that there will be no distraction towards his second term in office come 2027, which is just some months away. So the president will be up and about to settle or intervene or wade in into issues that pertain to his party and states where he believes he has a lot of support.
Wouldn't that be a daunting task? Wouldn't that be a daunting task, seeing the many states that we have in their congresses in the coming days, and different individuals vying for the same position? Wouldn't it be daunting for the president to wade into every one of them?
So we thought in the Rivers case, you find out that right now they were able to, one way or another, even though the peace is not permanent for now, but he was able to solve that problem of Rivers State. I believe with same zeal and zest, the president
All right, Mr. Fanimo, it appears, I'm going by your assessment of Ondo politics. It appears as though Ondo State has a long history of political turmoil, which dates back to 1983. So are we seeing a rehash of that in 2026, the 1983 elections? Are we seeing a rehash of that in 2026? And is there any way, can we say that this might end soon? Or it's just something we have to accept as part of the political framework of Ondo State?
You see, I was around in 1983 when that implosion happened. It's not going to happen this time, I can assure you. Because you need to be around for you to understand the magnitude of that mayhem at that time. But this one is going to be an isolated case.
Okay.
You understand? People are wiser. But the point is, a lot of this game is being played without humanity in the politicians. And like the Machiavellian theory, the end justifies the means. That's what is playing out. So it's an isolated one. It became pronounced because that is the base of the current chairman of that party in Ondo State. And Idonre is a small community, but with illustrious sons. There was a time Idonre had a senator, a House of Rep member, and party chairman. Despite his smaller size compared to the state capital or other towns in the state. So they needed to take the battle to the doorstep of the chairman of the party, because I guess the chairman of the party will be serving us out his term in this case. So the jostle for power would actually be more dominant in his territory. That's why you have all that. But as to if it will snowball into a mayhem that would engulf the whole state, like happened in 1983, that is not going to happen. Okay. All right. Let's bring back Mazi Amubi Hebo into this conversation. Mazi, yesterday was the World Congresses, and as at last count, I've seen like problem in like 7-8 states. You know, some of them already postponed these congresses. So let's look at it this way. These problems continue to the extent that, well, you know that there are so many interests now, some of them intersecting within the APC. maybe, and just maybe, APC, even if it doesn't implode, and this crisis, keeps, trailing them, does it create an opportunity for the opposition? First of all, how much of that will affect their electoral fortunes in 2027? And does it open a window of opportunity for the opposition to say, well, this is an opportunity for us to step in? Because a lot of people will be dissatisfied. And when they are dissatisfied, are they going to remain in the party, or are they going to say, okay, since I cannot drink this water, now let me spoil it so that nobody will drink?
Absolutely, you're correct. I expect a deluge of defections from APC to other political parties in the coming weeks and months. That is expected, because like Dele said, there are a lot of people, strange bedfellows, eyeing one position. And if they cannot get it, they will play the spoilers game. I see a situation where you also have defections from APC to other political parties. What I'm saying in effect is that other political parties, the opposition political parties, put their house in order.
I think the president will allow that.
Sorry?
Do you think the president will allow that?
Individual ambition. You don't know what individual ambitions can do
at this time. From any state at all.
The president is comfortable with his own ambition, and you are telling some other person not to also aspire. You understand me? So it will clash. All that is happening is me, myself, and I in the political situation of this country. Once you don't get it, you play the spoilers game.
Chief Asim Adams said something, said even if there will be an implosion within the APC, not before 2027.
I agree to a large extent.
Okay.
The president might be able to manage it because he holds the, whatever.
Okay.
He can beat people into line. But immediately after, assuming without conceding.
So basically,
that he wins the 2027, after that, the APC party will go haywire.
All right. Well, I guess this would be a good place to anchor this conversation. Now, let's move on to another conversation. Now, we'll take a break. When we come back, we'll be looking at what Minister Wike is doing. Well, after Wike's intervention, PDP candidate steps down for APC 3 days to Abuja election after Wike's intervention. Let's talk about this when we come back. Stay with us.
In a world where power shifts with every headline.
In a nation full of questions.
In a world filled with noise, the truth needs a voice.
The policies that shapes our world and the economy that determines our future.
Every hour, every day, the grapevine keeps buzzing. And together, we are committed to telling the stories that shape our world, because your voice is our focus.
Don't forget, our voice matters the most. Let us come together and share our concerns.
Welcome back. The People's Democratic Party chairmanship candidate for the Buhari Area Council election, Julius Adamu, has withdrawn from the race in favor of his All Progressives Congress candidate, Joshua Musa, in a move that has raised eyebrows across the Federal Capital Territory political landscape. While the stand-down, marked by a show of supporters and political heavyweights, took place on Wednesday, that's yesterday, in Buhari, where FCT Minister Nyesom Wike was present. A video of the event shared by Aviation TV on Facebook captured the moment Adamu publicly declared he would no longer contest the chairmanship seat and urged the supporters to back the APC candidate. Addressing the crowd, Wike said, "We have agreed that he will stand down for Joshua." Adamu, in his remarks, described the decision as born out of deep consultation with Wike and stressed that he and Musa were brothers, adding that it would not be nice for two brothers to kill themselves over one business. Now, let's take a look and listen to the video where the tradables, were thrown on the table and people had to rush to pick them up.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Honorable Chile Sadagon, the immediate personal Speaker Guararian Council, and now the PDP candidate Guararian Council. I'm standing here before you this afternoon to tell you that I have gone into a deep consultation with the Honorable Minister of FCT, and I have come to conclusion that I and Joshua we are brothers. And it will not be nice for two brothers to kill themselves over one issue. So as such, I have relinquished my support to Honorable Joshua. We are from Piselo in Joshua. He served as a councillor from 2026 and removed him from office from 2019 to 2022. So I wanted to remove him again, but I listened to my daddy. I said, let me leave him for now. So and I want to urge you all that we should also.
All right, there you have it. You know, the compromise reached between the PDAPC, according to the candidate that spoke, you know, at the event, under the watch of SCT Minister Nyesom Wike. We have the PDP candidate concede and ask his supporters to support the APC candidate. I mean, two brothers cannot kill themselves because of one business.
One business?
That's what business. The operational word there is business, one business. Well, we still have our gentlemen here in the studio, Dele Fanimo and Amobi Ihebo. Amobi, let me come to you. How will you describe this? Will you describe it as political sagacity? Will you describe it as effrontery? Will you describe it as audacity or impunity? Which one will it be for you? I mean, what just played out in the FCT Council election?
All of the above. All of the above. I think it's a harbinger of very bad thing to come. Like I stated in my earlier salvo, I said, with what happened yesterday, we will see a lot of issues throwing themselves up. So what it tells me now is that politics is not business. And that is why people die, and you know, for it and all that. And constitutionally speaking, there is nothing like APPDC and what have you.
PDAPC.
Yes, I think that young man there should be, you know, cautioned. There is nothing like that in our political, in political parties registered by INEC. I think this is an affront. I think it should be discouraged. And for the minister to superintend over this, I lack words to talk about it, shows to a large extent what the real, from what has happened now, you see that the FTT elections has been won and lost. That is what it is. And that was what I was alluding to, you know, Aviation. It has been won and lost. And that will also cascade into, you know, the general elections and what have you.
So
we have gotten it wrong, fundamentally.
Fundamentally,
yes.
According to Mazi. Mazi, talking about the elections being won and lost, I spoke to somebody, you know, politician, grassroots politician in the FCT yesterday, and he told me that despite what Wike is doing, that it's going to be a tough call for the APC, because according to him, the ADC is on ground, taproot in the FCT. So if we look at this single, more like a single story somehow, and we use it to conclude, does it speak to the kind of thing? I'm trying to find the appropriate word now. Does it look like the real politics will not be played, or something bigger than real politics, more like manipulation or all of that? Are we expecting to see Meanwhile, are they going to use the Electoral Act to conduct the 2026 Electoral Act? Are they going to use to conduct this election?
Absolutely. No, the
Okay,
thing was
it's
signed
already a
yesterday.
law.
It's already a law. It's already a law. And you see more glitches.
Okay.
More glitches will happen that will necessitate their using manual. That is what is going to play out. So the FCT election will be a test case, towards 2027. And Minister Wike will want to make a point that is in charge and all that. I think the opposition parties should also stamp their feet, because this election will, dictate the pace. If ADC is able to, show her presence sufficiently in this election, that will be thumbs up for the opposition. But if they will not succumb to the intimidation of, the powers that be, of course, the justification for what happened yesterday is there. So what I'm saying in effect is that the political situation in FCT should be closely monitored.
Okay.
So that we can deduce, one or two things from
the trajectory
where we are going.
Okay.
It is very, very important that we do so.
Okay. Now, Delifani Moore, I don't have an opinion on this, but I'm dumbfounded. If I'm dumbfounded, how do you react to this?
I'm surprised that you are dumbfounded, because these had played out in the past, and I'll give you a few examples.
Okay.
Political game is dictated by transactional business in Nigeria. And as long as we have that, which is fueled by heavy monetization of the political space. What played out yesterday played out in Oyo State in the last election.
In the open?
Not in the open.
That's why I'm dumbfounded.
But in the open, if you understand the game.
Okay.
Makinde was behind Tinubu, and I've explained the build-up to that. He wanted to deliver, and he delivered Oyo State during the presidential election. And he sacrificed all the candidates of PDP in the Senate and House of Reps. Those guys were disgruntled. But in the midst of this hula baloo, this same man came into Oyo State overnight. Until today, none of these senatorial candidates of APC or House of Rep candidate of APC ever went to court. What does that tell us? There must be some undercurrent, which is known to you and I. And because that succeeded then, it is possible to take it a notch higher by openly displaying what transpired at that time, this time around. We are going to see more of this. A sitting senator, a high-ranking senator in the House of Assembly, in the Senate, also had this same thing. He never won the election, but he bought his way through. A particular senator in the North won an election, and somebody bought it off him. And that person is still in the Senate. So it's all about transactional leadership. And that is not what we want in this country today. We want transformational leadership and not transactional. If it continues like this, then money will dictate your altitude in this country.
All right.
Thank you very much for that submission. Let's go over to Chief Asin. The electoral laws in Nigeria is very strict about how and the process by which a candidate steps down. He has to be voluntary, he has to write, and he writes to the party, and it's also supposed to be followed by a primary. And we know that the FCT minister himself is a lawyer. So are we seeing a breakdown of law and order? Is this a voluntary step down? Okay,
I
please,
think, yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes. Now, if I got you correctly, you are saying that the man that stepped down should have done all those things you said.
Yes.
Later, etc. No, I don't think so. Except I got the story wrongly. Why? It's because he is a candidate of the PDP. In the primaries, that is when such is, when they are to choose, yes, when they are to choose who will represent PDP or ADC or APC or ADC, that is where those conditions will come to play. But once parties have chosen their candidates, then the next thing for them to do is to go to elections. So we already have this candidate for PDP. Then we have the candidate for APC. I think that is what the story is talking about. Now, the candidate for PDP stepped down for the APC candidate, saying that he does not want to, contest the election of Saturday. It's just about 3 days away from, or 2 days away, that he does not want to contest. We have seen such happen before. Consensus is agreed insofar as it was done voluntarily, and that the party for which he represented, like PDP, agreed wholeheartedly with the decision of their candidate. Where there will be a problem is if the chairman of PDP or the PDP itself said, no, we don't have any alliance or maybe agreement with the APC for our candidate to step down for him. In other words, it then means that that PDP candidate has sold his candidacy. Now, what are the implications? That is why it happened, will I say, state, or yes, I think so, where you found out that on election day, a lot of people were not aware that a particular candidate stepped down. What now happened was that the supporters still went ahead and voted for the political party, the PDP. They still voted for a party. They didn't know that the candidate of that political party had stepped down for the candidate of the other party. So the legal implication is this. If that is what happens, the APC candidate wins the election with the support of the votes, from the PDP candidates. There is no legal encumbrance there, because the voters that did their voting did that based on their own volition.
Barrister Adam.
Two. Yes, two.
Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
Okay. Two. Politics is war without blood. Why war is politics with blood? What am I trying to say? Politics is not a war, except in Nigeria here, when I see people killing themselves. Politics ought to be horse trading. You have to come, sell myself.
Barrister Adam, yes, I would like for you to shift back a little bit so that we can get your frame. Your frame is cutting,
Okay.
Beautiful, beautiful. It's good. So land on your thoughts, sir. I have a few questions for you.
Okay. So what happened there was like horse trading. And like Mr. Fanimo, my brother, said in the studio, Nigerian politics is transactional. That is why you see politicians who wake up in the morning and say, I have decamped from party A to party B, because that is why I feel that my interest will be served better. Secondly, don't be surprised. I'm not saying it happened. The PDP candidate may have looked at the scenarios. Look, let me trade my ticket for some currency, maybe dollars, etc., as the case may be. And he receives 1 or 2 million or whatever as the case may be to further his interest in business. And then he relinquishes the candidacy just like that. So it's transactional.
Adams, it's not only Dele Fanimo that said it. He has said it several times that Nigerian politics is transactional, because I've heard you say that a lot of times. Now, we see these things happen, but this one happened with some kind of bravado, braggadocio, like you normally say, in the open. And shouldn't it be concerning to Nigerians that the man that publicly broke out this kind of alliance, if you don't mind, you know, immediate alliance between the APC candidate and the PDP candidate, it's someone who is having problems in another political party, PDP, talking about Nyesom Wike, you know, he's having problems with his people in the PDP. And he is here, we understand that he works for the APC. Is it not, shouldn't it be concerning to Nigerians that we have a man in one party, then brokering, you know, for the success of another political party in an election? Shouldn't it be concerning to Nigerians? I want to say,
it shouldn't be. That's why I said politics is all about horse trading, etc. Let me give one example. Are you aware that George Bush, who worked for Joe Biden to become president of America, even though he was a Republican, the first tenure of Biden's government, when he was contesting with the Republicans, he said that this man that is there, I don't think he's my party man, but I don't think I can support him. And he gave his support and votes to the other political parties.
So, Mr. Adams, did he campaign for Biden in public?
He didn't come out public to campaign, but when he was interviewed, he gave his reasons why he voted the other way. Okay. That was how I got to know.
So you can establish the difference here. So, we have someone that is in another party and openly campaigning for another political party. What kind of political culture are we building? If you don't mind, can you help us?
That is what I'm saying. It is not criminal. On the moral ground of it, you may say that yes, ethics and whatever, it ought to be there. But legally speaking, there is nothing wrong with that. If the man decides to come out openly to do that, being transactional politics we play in Nigeria, anything can happen.
You're a lawyer, Mr. Adams. You're a lawyer. How can you help us define anti-party activity? Anti-party activity, is it an offense within the laws guiding political parties?
See, anti-party activity is an offense.
Okay.
Now, do you know you can commit an offense and the police will not come for you? If you, yeah, I'm coming. You can commit an offense and the police will not come for you. For instance, what I'm trying to say is that, yes, anti-party can be an offense. If I begin to do anti-party and in my constitution, it says that I should be punished and the party do not punish me, you know, will you blame me for, you know, doing what I've been doing consistently? You know, even though it's anti-party, the party ought to stand their ground. For instance, I made that very clear just now. I said, what would have happened in this case for the candidate of PDP to have gone to say, I'm withdrawing from the elections? Has anybody spoken from the PDP, the national chairman, the secretary, the even chairman of PDP in the FCT? Have they spoken to say, no, that is not it is not true. You cannot step that. Nobody has reprimanded the young man. So which means something is beyond what we are saying. That is what I'm trying to explain. It's not a normal. It is not a normal, but politics allows such to happen. I have said an own goal, like in football, is allowed. If you score an own goal, like what happened yesterday in Arsenal's game with Wolves, you saw there was an own goal by Califiori, one of Arsenal players. It was accepted as a goal against Arsenal. But it was their player that scored it. It's the same thing in politics. So when you see people taking this thing too extreme or whatever too seriously, and politicians don't do that, the reason is because the Nigerian average politician knows that what will satisfy my stomach is why I'm in politics.
Okay, Barrister Adams, based on what happened in Abuja yesterday, I mean the trade-off and all of that, are you able to let us into, you know, what might be, you know, the likely consequences, the outcome of the FCTA election? If we have this kind of thing, do you think that it's going to be free, fair, and credible? Mind you know that the Electoral Act has been signed into law yesterday, hurriedly, by our president, as some people said, hurriedly. Do you think that it's going to, you know, how would that impact on the FCTA elections? Talking about what happened yesterday and the Electoral Act that has been signed into law. Now, this is double-barreled question, 2 in 1. Can you help us make sense of both issues here?
See, Barrister Adams, Barrister Adams, you are right. It is not free, fair, and credible. But politics allow such to happen. I have said an own goal, like in football, you know, if you score an own goal, like what happened yesterday in Arsenal's game with Wolves, you saw there was an own goal by Califiori, one of Arsenal players. It was accepted as a goal against Arsenal. But the party ought to stand their ground. For instance, if you see people taking this thing too extreme or whatever too seriously, and Yeah, what the INEC chairman said yesterday, immediately after the electoral bill was signed into law, the INEC chairman said that the FCDA or FCTA election is going to be based on the new Electoral Act, which means the electronic transmission. He made it very clear that there will be electronic transmission of results in the election for Saturday. That is what he made clear. But as a Nigerian, I'm so circumspect and skeptical. Why? Mahmoud Yakub went to Chatham House before the elections of 2023 and told us the same thing, that the 2023 elections between all the parties, P2B, Atiku, and whoever, Tinubu, that the results will be electronically transmitted. It said so in London. He made it. The world press, even CNN, some of these national television stations took the news that this is what the man has promised at Chatham House. But he came back and did a different thing. So the same thing I'm so scared of and circumspect of on Saturday. Though the man has said that this is what is going to happen. And for now, I'm still looking, I'm watching, I'm praying that he will not recount or he will not renege on the promise he has made. But be that as it may, if the INEC is able to conduct the
All right, then. Well, unfortunately, we have a network glitch there, making it impossible for us to get the full summation of Chief Asim Adams's contribution there. But let's bring it back to the studio as we gradually coast home now. Mahazi Amobi. Okay.
Why I said the election on Saturday would be a test case is that the argument, conversations around electronically transmission of results is hinged on poor network penetration in this country. Thank God, Abuja, can we describe Abuja as a rural community? Wherever in Abuja, I don't think we can describe Abuja as a rural community. That is why I said the election on Saturday will be a test case. I do not think there is anywhere in Abuja
where they have internet access.
Internet access is not prevalent. So it is left for us to see what happens. Whether INEC will declare a glitch where none existed to be able to use the manual collation or whatever. So Abuja's election, the Josh Abuja's INEC has said they are going to use the 2026 electoral act to good. We'll see how it plays out. That is why I'm calling on the opposition to look at where they are. And then one of the opposition has just stepped down. It gives room for the other opposition parties to begin to do their homework in the 48 hours window that is left to be able to prove a point. That despite whatever thing that happens, that elections can be credible. I believe that INEC will do the needful.
How do you expect a credible election where the minister of the FCT has come out or came out to say that it is whoever supports the president that he will support, which basically places him at an influential position over the elections? How does that make you feel?
Why the minister is able or has the guts to make such an unbearable statement is because our elections do not count. If the National Assembly had come out clear-cut that these results will be transmitted electronically, simpliciter, the minister will not make such a statement. That is the point. You see, what we did, what the National Assembly did, has serious implications. It is not, one street-jacketed area. It has implications. I would have thought that if this electronic transmission of results, was adopted, just like the Nigerian people have said,
wholesomely,
people would not talk with impunity. people will, wait until the results are out before they start making statements. But now, people will sit down in their cozy offices and rooms and begin to make statements that are very provocative. If Wike, in his own wisdom, can say that, what it tells me is that there is a place, there is something that is beating the drum, in the bush for him, which is not supposed to be. So, what the National Assembly has done is to give people, impetus to begin to do or say what is not supposed to be said.
Mazi, let's veer off a little and stay within the topic of discussion, which is about elections. Now, the president has signed the Electoral Act 2026 into law. Some people say he signed it hurriedly. Do you think that it was done in a hurry?
Absolutely.
What should the president have done?
Is it the first time he's signing a bill? So what is so special about him signing this bill? Abuja is central. They wanted to use it for Abuja's election. You get what I'm saying? That is why he signed it hurriedly. In other situations, the president can take his time. He will go to somewhere and come back and begin to look at the clauses one after the other. Within 24 hours, the bill has been put into a signable form that the president has signed it already.
Does it worry you that while Nigerians were still arguing, going back and forth, opposition figures were still, disagreeing with it, civil society organizations were saying, no, this is not what we want. And without considering all of those things, the president just went ahead and signed it without probably calling for some kind of harmonization with other interests and all of that. What does that tell you?
They have won. The government has won. But I want to tell you that the Nigerian people have not given up. The contradictions inherent in this administration will make it increasingly difficult for this thing to hold. Don't be surprised. I want to also prophesy. I read my Bible very well. I want to be prophesying these days that they will come back to this e-transmission of results. Nigerian people will come back. This bill, because it holds the magic wand to, put Nigeria in the world map politically. So if it is scuttled to favor a very few, how many members of the National Assembly do we have? Infinitesimal figure. When you compare it with the Nigerian population, there are very few. And more importantly, we sent them to that place to make, and we told them that this is what we want. And the National Assembly, in their wisdom, decided otherwise. I saw the President of Senate saying that this has reflected the wish of Nigerian people, aspiration of Nigerian people. I laughed. That's an insult to Nigeria.
Yeah. Have the Nigerian people been defeated as far as the Electoral Act amendment? Their request, their demand, their yearnings, that they want e-transmission of results compulsory. Have they been defeated with the president assenting to that law, despite the cry of the opposition, civil society, in fact, Nigerians? Have they been defeated? What do you expect in the coming days?
To the extent of the signing of these new Electoral Act as amended, that's a prior victory against Nigeria, but it's not going to last. I expect that Nigerians should challenge this, because
it's not going to last leading to 2027, or it's not going to last after 2027.
If we can still challenge it and we are tenacious about it, it can still go back the whole round. Because I went through that document, though I was sadly, as a layman, what I noticed is that it's almost watertight, that once somebody wins an election now, all those technical loopholes that lawyers exploit that will be removed. It is either EC 8A4 is complied with or nothing. And in most cases, elections are not rigged in the urban areas. If you follow politics closely, elections are rigged in the hinterland, where people will not have the muscle to challenge results. I've seen somebody who felt he has won an election, and it happened in Ondo State. during Najimobi's victory, first election, the opponent had been rejoicing, celebrating, but there was just only one local government. That local government, they held that result till the following day in the afternoon. By the time they released that result, the whole game changed. And that person that has been celebrating and thanking those who supported him eventually lost that election, and Najimobi became governor. And where it will be easy for this new law to operate is not going to be in the city, because you can challenge it. It's going to be in the hinterland.
Okay.
Where it is very easy to claim that there is no internet infrastructure in that area. And so there will be no other alternative than to rely on the EC8A form as authentic. And it was even emphasized, in the new amended law that the ECA8 form stands where there is no internet facility to transmit election result electronically. So
it's a done deal. Anyway, we will get deeper into this conversation during newspaper review, because that, of course, is one of the headlines on the cover pages of the dailies, and I would like for you to stay with us, to join us then as we get into it. Let's move away from this conversation, gentlemen, as we coast home now. Exploring artificial intelligence, AI, as a cover for Misdemeanor. How do we differentiate between what's authentic and what is false? Talking about fact checking. Well, let's look at this, and then we'll be back after this break.
Alex, so audio I sent you is supposed to be for a In an age where artificial intelligence can clone voices, fabricate speeches, and generate hyper-realistic videos, the line between truth and deception is becoming harder to see. What began as breakthrough innovation has also opened the door to a powerful new defense. When politicians are caught on camera, some now dismiss the evidence as AI manipulation. This growing phenomenon in modern politics explores the strategic use of deepfake skepticism. As AI tools become more sophisticated, so does the opportunity to weaponize doubt. We now wonder, is that viral clip authentic or is it synthetic? And more importantly, who benefits when the public can tell the difference? Let's examine how emerging technology is reshaping accountability, how plausible deniability is evolving in the digital era, and what it means for trust in democratic institutions. When it's fake becomes the first line of defense, the truth itself may be the real casualty.
Welcome back. From seemingly harmless cooking videos to videos of animals performing stunts to images of presidents twerking, there's almost nothing artificial intelligence cannot be used to achieve. But what about when it's used as an alibi in glaring cases of corrupt practices, misreporting, or discouraging behavior caught on camera? Today, we are exploring a growing concern, the use of artificial intelligence or deepfakes to cover for misdemeanors, from academic dishonesty and harassment to fraud and digital impersonation. Recently, social media platform X had to restrict its AI tool, Grok, for generating sexually explicit videos of women and girls. Is AI making it easier to evade accountability, or are we overestimating its role? To help us unpack this complex issue, we are joined by someone who studies the intersection of technology, ethics, law, and journalism. Dr. Umana Samuel Akpan is a lecturer who has published in high-impact journals in the area of AI, deepfake, and emerging technology. Good morning, Mr. Akpan. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
It's a pleasure to have you. So, you know, in the past, when we see some of these videos, we could almost tell that it's fake. Maybe when somebody blinks, or maybe a video of a woman, for instance, maybe the hair moves, we can say, oh, this is plastic. But these days, the lines have become blurred, and it's almost impossible sometimes to even tell which is AI and which is real. So what is that one thing that AI can't achieve? Let's start on this and then expand.
All right. Thank you very much for inviting me. You see, that one thing that AI cannot achieve, and I can tell you a few. Back in the day, we used to think that technology would not replace the costume guy, the guy who comes to dress you up before you appear on TV. And then today we are seeing that AI is almost, you just put your picture, whether Grok or whichever one, and then your picture would be redefined. And then I used to tell my student in those days that AI would not, or any emerging technology, even before the advent of AI, that it would not replace the role of a producer. And to be very surprised, but surprisingly, when you look at today, the things that these emerging technologies are doing, you'll be so shocked that even the job, the role, the responsibilities of the producer, those responsibilities are almost wiping off. But, it started those back in the day, as deepfake, and where somebody can clone your voice, and then you begin to talk like maybe the former President Obama or President Obasanjo, and then it moved from deepfake, and now we are seeing the entrance of AI. And I would always advise people that we should not throw away the water, the bad water with the baby, because AI has come to redefine how things are done. And maybe in the course of the conversation, I'll tell you one of the benefits and, of course, one of the advantages, or some of them, of AI. And I tell you, AI is not the bus stop. The other day I was at a conference, and you realize that some other emerging technologies are coming out, and which might even wipe out AI in no distant time.
All right, good to have you on the show, Dr. Samuel Owana. It's been decades that we haven't seen each other. Well, it's a good work you're doing at the University of Lagos. Now, talking about regulating AI, we know that some people have argued that there need to be some sort of regulation or this will be taken out of hand. We've seen videos pop up involving politicians, political office holders and the likes, and in debunking or denying, they've come to say, oh no, that didn't happen, or this didn't happen, that's AI generated. But we don't see the track down of anybody involved. We don't see the prosecution of those that might have, come up with those deep fake, as it were. What should we do in terms of regulating the use of social media, AI, and the rest? Because these things have come to stay. Whether we like it or yes, it has come to stay. How then do we regulate and use it to the advantage of the society as against using it to the detriment of the society?
Yeah, thank you very much. It's good to see you. It's been a while too. The truth remains that I'll just take you down historically. Let's historicize these. When you look at when technology started emerging, you find out that something like the calculator was a form of AI, but people didn't know. And I remember those days, when we were doing history of technology in school, and they showed us a picture where teachers were demonstrating and saying, hey, students are beginning to use calculator, they're cheating and all of that. But today, WAEC is asking you to bring calculator and other examination bodies into the examination hall. And then there's so many others like that. And then talking about the regulation, is it ethical? Whose ethical duty is it to regulate the activities of this emerging technology? I don't like using the word AI because I tell you, write it down. Sooner or later, AI would be having a very big challenge because another technology might be coming out. The people who can regulate this technology, these guys are the inventors themselves. Now I give you in the academia. Now I remember in those days when I was in the industry, I didn't have the luxury of AI, and I know what I could do if I had the luxury of AI. It means that my script will be airtight. It means that as a producer, then it means that AI could help me to generate ideas or maybe topics for my programs, but with the senior producer knew where I came from, and you could be sure that the senior producer would also be, patronizing it. Now, moving into the academia, the rules of engagement change. The rules of engagement have changed because in academia, plagiarism is a very serious, pardonable offense, but AI is worse than plagiarism.
Also.
Now, yeah, so it's you will say, it's the same, bedfellow, but AI is an advanced, because somebody could take your work, put it on AI, and then, does something even better than your work. And then when you are saying, oh, this technology is coming to destroy what was on ground, the Grammarly app that I don't know whether some people use it in the industry, but in the academia, when you finish your work, you put it or turn it in, you put it there to correct your grammar because it's not our language, So Grammarly, yeah, that's a form of AI. Why can't you allow me to spot your mistakes before you send? I review journals for international journals.
We're running out of time because we really don't have so much time on the show. How difficult has it been for you as a lecturer to mark assignments, scripts, projects brought to you by students, knowing that, these are people born into, the usage of phones, and a lot of them were, when they were born, I'm talking about the young people now, phones already existed. So they're used to these things. And with the emergence of AI, it's easier to just, do assignments, do projects. How difficult is it for you to mark? Do you consider that? Do they have deduction in marks, or you just, because we know that some of these things are aided by prompts. what you impute basically is what it generates. So you need to have something in your head to impute something. So tell us how you're able to, mark and do these things.
Well, my experience is that you see a lot of students, coming up with if you are trained, you would be able to detect AI generated text, and then you would be able to see that this one is AI. Something happened recently. I called a student. I said, "Fantastic work. Sit down and reproduce this work," and the person was crying. So students use it, but because of time, I will just tell you this: the truth remains that a student will bring a project. The final year project that you write before you graduate, and you can't find anything to grammatically the structure to correct. And you are supposed to be a supervisor, that you're supervising a student to have, I tell my master students, my master supervisees, don't bring any AI work to me. Let's work together. So when I see those things, I'll begin to cross them out and then send them back.
All right, please let me just take this because we're almost out of time. Let's bring it down to politics. People say that AI is one of the best things to ever happen to Nigerian politicians because it somewhat gives them an escape route. So now let me paint a typical scenario for you. A video drops on Friday nights, scandalous, and then most times it takes like 2 days, 48 hours for it to be debunked and viewed as AI, revealed to be either AI or not. So how long does it take for you in the industry to debunk such? Because if it takes 48 hours and let's say it turns out not to be AI, an individual's reputation has already been marred. So let's talk about that verification.
Yes, quickly. If you see a video and the person is saying, I know the scenario you're talking about, the rubbing of the legs and the massaging of the leg. All I need to do is take that video that advanced like the British Council and some other educational institutions, organizations would give universities, apps, tools that you can put any text, you can put any video to find out whether this video or this visual is or any of them artificially generated or AI generated. But let me shock you, some universities right now in the US, I can mention some of them, are beginning to do courses on AI. For example, AI and the newsroom. There's a certain university that is saying, hey, before we graduate this, I think both the university in the US, we need to make our students to understand AI. We have to incorporate these courses into it so that, because when you graduate right now, and I tell you the truth, gone are those that they tell you that you have to be computer compliance. Now this AI compliance, employer, I tell you as a media practitioner, not just as a scholar, as a media scholar practitioner, some media organizations right now, not only media organizations, if you don't know how to use AI, they will not employ you. It's coming to that time. So the universities are saying, instead of us to graduate students that can't use AI, in fact, some journals right now are telling me, hey, if you are using AI, maybe for grammatical correctness, for structure, for this, you have to declare that declaration. In fact, a professor from a certain university, because we are doing work together, got in touch with me and said, hey, Doc, how far? What is the AI specification for this job? You understand? So it's getting to that time that when you graduate as a student, and those students might not be employable because they're not able to use AI.
So basically, you need AI to determine AI fake. That's how important AI is. Okay,
they are the one. Just like in those days in the computer, when they produce the computer and then there is this virus, it is these same people that will also give you something that will prevent that virus. So, for example, Grok can also give you, okay, if you want to detect any text or any picture, any video, or any voice generated by us, get this, and then we'll help you to generate it. The same thing we turn it in. So it's like that. But my closing point this morning is that because we are graduating a lot of mass communication, graduates, and now mass communication has been unbundled. In those days, when you saw a mass communication studio was pregnant with about 7 departments. So there's broadcasting, journalism, there's practice, and all of that. So universities around the world are beginning to integrate, AI, for example, the Harvard School of Journalism is trying to do something in the area of AI, newsroom and AI. So if your universities are lagging behind, I tell you, those graduates will be graduating out without having the necessary skills of AI. And let me also stop you. AI now interact with the best form to get the best option or the best productivity from AI is for AI and AI to interact, just like moving ChatGPT to Grok or Gemini to Grok. So if you don't know these skills, by the time you go for interview and they ask you some of this, because the employer wants productivity, the employer wants speed, and AI brings speed. But for the scholars, for those who sit down and write and think, if you depend on AI, you are going to deaden your brain. Thank you.
Deaden your brain if you depend on AI. Well, thank you very much, Dr. Samuel Owana, who is a multidisciplinary scholar, a broadcast practitioner, lecturer in the Department of Mass Communication at the University of Lagos. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, sir.
Well, that's how far we can go on the show this morning. And yes, our politicians also. Well, it's up to us broadcasters to know, to try decipher which video is AI, either that of a politician peeing by the roadside or a politician showing love, being romantic to someone. We should decipher which one is AI generated before they come tell us that it's AI generated. Well, this is how far we go on VOP this morning. Join us again in a few minutes. We'll be flipping through the pages of the dailies, looking at the headlines, and don't worry, we'll not be using AI to look at the headlines. We'll go deeper into the headlines this morning. I'm Moses Humphrey. I'll see you at 10. Bye for now.
And I'm Jane Ogoye. Thank you for joining us.
I'm Chukwu Mokoro. Bye for now. See you on top of the hour.
In a world where power shifts with every headline.
In a nation full of questions.
In a world filled with noise, the truth needs a voice.
The policies that shapes our world and the economy that determines our future.
Every hour, every day, the grapevine keeps buzzing. And together, we are committed to telling the stories that shape our world, because your voice is our focus.
Don't forget, our voice matters the most. Let us come together and share our concerns.
Africa is on the move, a continent of rising voices, untold stories, and powerful transformations. From the streets of Lagos to the heart of Nairobi, from the mines of Congo to the tech labs of Cape Town, the African story is being written every day. Bold, dynamic, unstoppable. This is Africa News on Voice of the People Television. We don't just bring you the news. We analyze and bring you Africa's heartbeat, the politics that shapes our nations, the economies that drives our future, the cultures that defines who we are, the voice that must be heard. Africa News, Africa's voice, Africa's future. Where Africa speaks, the world listens.
This is Health Check,
your weekly guide to better living, smarter choices, and trusted answers. From everyday wellness to urgent health issues, we've got you covered. Health Check, only on Voice of the People Television, where your health has a voice.
Do you want your voice to be heard? Do you know that you matter in the scheme of things? The People's Voice, the show where ordinary citizens take center stage as we discuss the biggest stories that affect you and I. With you in mind, we facilitate lively discussions, debates, and interviews on the topics that matter most to you and I, from social justice to economic empowerment, education to healthcare, governance, and more, tackling tough topics and amplifying your voice. Join the conversation and make your voice count. The People's Voice. Make your voice count. Join us as we drive into the world of politics through insightful interviews with prominent political figures, both serving and former governors, ministers, senators, legislators, party chieftains, activists, and analysts. Get first-hand information into the decision-making processes that affect our daily lives. Highly engaging one-hour program that brings political discourse into focus.
I am Chukwuma Okoro.
Political Lens, Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. Join us.
Behind every broken desk lies a broken promise. Education shapes the nations. But who is asking the right questions? Introducing Edu Dialogue, the show that goes beyond the surface, exposes the cracks, the corruption, and the silence in Nigeria's education system. Edu Dialogue, Saturdays, 3 p.m., only on VOP TV. We break the biggest stories, from missing funds to policy failures. We ask the tough questions and demand real answers. Edu Dialogue, this Saturday, 3 p.m. on Voice of the People Television.
We encourage you to click on the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are Voice of the People TV. Also follow us on all our social media platforms. We are at VOP TV Live. Visit our website www.vop.ng for fresh and trending news. Also watch us live on SLTV channel 264. VOP TV, Voice of the People Television.